Now at 6:30.
I am so proud of the race we ran and the way we ran it.
Vice President Kamala Harris speaks for the first time since last night's loss to President-elect Donald Trump.
We're going to fix everything about our country, and we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that.
We talked to an expert on how a second Trump presidency could impact Southeast Ohio.
Plus, local Democrats and Republicans share their reactions on key races locally and nationally.
I had a feeling that Pennsylvania would actually turn red.
I think we had a good race. We raised issues. I want to congratulate my opponent.
And in sports, Ohio football travels to Kent State for a must-win game for the Bobcats. We have a full breakdown of tonight's matchup. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Allison Patton.
And I'm Megan Kaczynski. Welcome to Newswatch. It was a gloomy day here in Athens.
Lead forecaster Emily Dietz has more on current conditions. Emily, is the rain sticking around?
Well, fortunately for us, this rain is pretty much let up. Now, the main reason we were seeing a lot of this rain here today was due to this incoming cold front and low pressure system that swept across the area, picking up a lot of this warm Gulf air that had a lot of moisture inside of it, creating a lot of these clouds and this precipitation that we saw throughout the day today. And again, for us right now, we're seeing mostly cloudy skies, and our temperatures are a bit more comfortable than yesterday. Yesterday, we saw the low 80s, and right now we're about in the upper 60s, so definitely still on the warmer side of things, but certainly not as hot as it was yesterday. But our humidity has gone up quite a bit again since we had this cold front move through and we had a lot of this rain come down on us. Now, taking a look behind me, the system is now currently off towards the east coast. A lot of it is seeing through the Appalachian Mountains, especially down near our friends in North and South Carolina. And we're just kind of sitting right along the edge of it. So we're just going to see the occasional pop-up shower with a light mist or drizzle throughout the rest of the evening, specifically in the lower southern part of the state. So if you're anywhere north of Columbus or northeast of Athens, you're going to be pretty much done with this rain for the evening, because as the system starts to take shape a little bit more and continue to move towards the east, it's actually going to sort of turn horizontally a little bit. And so we're going to see a lot more of that rain or a lot more of these pop-up showers along this Ohio-Kentucky border, kind of along that Ohio River area. But that rain isn't the only thing that came through the area. We also saw warmer temperatures very briefly. Right now across the state, we're seeing those mid to upper 60s as well. We're even in about the 70 degrees, but those are going to be, gone as we move throughout the week.
Vice President Kamala Harris made her first speech since losing last night's presidential election.
The vice president spoke to supporters and conceded to President-elect Donald Trump. Harris told her supporters that while they may be feeling upset, they need to accept the results. She says she spoke with Trump on the phone earlier in the day and congratulated him on his win. Harris said she told Trump the Biden administration will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright.
Harris also urged her supporters to treat others with respect as they continue to fight for fundamental rights.
Trump has a dominating 295 to 223 lead against Harris in the Electoral College. The president-elect has so far taken each battleground state. Trump also won an overwhelming majority of the popular vote. He took the stage last night to thank his supporters as results continue to roll in. The president-elect says he wants to fix problems the country is facing.
We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that.
We are still awaiting calls in Arizona and Nevada. Now, with Trump heading back to the White House, many Americans are wondering what this could mean for them.
Newswatch anchors Haley Hollinger and Donovan Varney spoke to an Ohio University professor about what a second Trump presidency can mean for us in Southeast Ohio.
So Dr. Skinner, what would you say draws voters to Trump and his policies? Donald Trump is a real expert at giving speeches in which he makes huge promises that often have very little to do with the actual policy reality that we face in this country. But he does play to people's fears. He certainly makes big promises to people who are looking for answers.
What does access to Medicare and Medicaid mean to people in our region specifically?
Well, Medicaid is a lifeline in the state of Ohio. I mean, more than 50% of children in Ohio are born on Medicaid. It's the foundation that keeps many of our hospitals, community hospitals, it keeps them open, and so the idea that, that any administration would come in and really take a whack at Medicaid when we've been able to see what it does. I mean, Governor Kasich years ago called it a matter of life and death to expand Medicaid in the state of Ohio. And the Medicaid expansion has been a lifesaver, and it really has. So Medicaid is just such an existential foundation to what we do in the United States and how we keep any semblance of health together that, any politician would touch it at great, great risk. Medicare, on the other hand, this is an extremely powerful voting bloc. Older Americans will not tolerate major changes to Medicare. Medicare, just like Medicaid, has been a lifeline. So, it's easy for politicians like Trump to talk in the election about the possibility of making these major changes. But when you actually really look at these programs, it's extremely dangerous and politically unviable for them to really take a whack at it.
And Trump also says he will take on inflation as part of his plan to protect seniors. Now, how might working on lowering inflation affect healthcare costs?
Well, first of all, Donald Trump is talking about these tariffs, this major tariff on all goods coming into the United States, which economists regard as a major inflationary policy. So unless Donald Trump's going to, remove that policy position, I don't see the way he deals with inflation. A president's not going to come in and wave a magic wand and deal with the inflation issue. It's going to take time and it's going to take persistence. And medicine and healthcare is going to be right in there, just like any other commodity would be in terms of the costs, the effects of things like inflation or price gouging and these kinds of things.
The presidential race wasn't the only race happening last night.
A number of key races across the state of Ohio faced tough votes. Here's a look at the results. Starting in Nelsonville, a ballot issue abolishing the city's charter has passed by an overwhelming majority. The initiative received over 70% of the votes, while only 29% voted against. Athens County voters approved a levy for the Athens County Public Libraries. The levy was approved with just under 54% of the vote. The library systems director says he's grateful for the Athens community's trust in the library. He says the money will go toward continuing its operation and services for the public at the current level.
Democrat Taylor Sappington will serve as the next Athens County treasurer. Sappington received about 93% of the vote. He says he wants to express his gratitude to voters and also thanked his opponent, independent write-in candidate Dawn Deputy. Democrat Charlie Adkins will serve another term as the Athens County Commissioner. Adkins won against his opponent John Rose by nearly 5,900 votes. Adkins says he will continue to serve the people of Athens County and thanks voters for their support.
Moving to the state level, Ohioans rejected Issue 1, which would have banned gerrymandering in the state. The issue failed by 8%.
Bernie Moreno scored a major win for Republicans. Moreno beat incompetent Democrat Sherrod Brown in Ohio's U.S. Senate race. Brown is one of Ohio's longest serving and tried to appeal voters by emphasizing his work with both parties. Moreno says he wants to represent all Ohioans while in office.
And to the people out there in Ohio who didn't vote for me, just know that I will always advocate for you. I will always have your back, and I will work for the next 6 years to win you over. Because my responsibility is to the entirety of Ohio.
Moreno's win was one of 2 Senate seats Republicans were able to flip last night. The party is projected to have a majority in the U.S. Senate. Republicans in Washington County were watching results live as they rolled in last night. The GOP swept all local races in the county, a major win for the party.
Newswatch reporter Reese Thompson was at the watch party and caught viewers' emotions as results rolled in.
Megan Allison, while the night ended in success for the Republican Party, that doesn't mean there wasn't suspense. I talked to Washington County locals about their excitement and concerns as results rolled in.
I am delighted to say, with 100% of the vote in, there are no more countywide Democrat office holders because Teresa Judson has just won County Reporter.
The night started with cheers for local officials, but nervousness for voter turnout at the national level.
I'm just most nervous for, like, at the last minute, like, it completely changing up. Like, they'll be red, but then all of a sudden they all turn blue.
Today I am a little more nervous. There's some states that I thought would probably be a little stronger in the red.
As the night went on, those fears turned into joy as key battleground states were called.
I had a feeling that Pennsylvania would actually turn red, and there's been such an effort to register new voters there.
Some states that were initially looking like maybe they would go Kamala versus Trump have started to swing back the other way. I was happy to see Virginia start to come back the other direction.
Then came the announcement Republican Bernie Moreno represent Ohio in the U.S. Senate.
I was happy to see that Moreno is winning. Right now, I think everything is basically what I've hoped for so far in Ohio.
With the Senate race decided, all eyes were left to find out who is the next president. Around 1:30 a.m., former President Donald Trump was projected to be the 47th president of the United States. District 94 Representative Kevin Ritter and District 30 Senator Brian Chavez were in attendance at the GOP watch party when they found out they were elected into office. Reporting for Newswatch live in studio, I'm Reese Thompson.
The Athens County Democrats gathered at Pigskin last night to watch election results come in. Election night was not great for Athens County Democrats, and the Democrats are embracing community as Ohio voters favor Republicans.
But around the state, there are still votes being counted, and this election is far from over.
Just before coming to the Athens County Democratic Watch Party, Lauren Degas was counting votes at the Athens County Board of Elections. She was one of the first people to know when the races were called.
I can say that our County Commissioner, Charlie Adkins, has successfully been reelected.
Athens County Commissioner Charlie Adkins was the only Democratic candidate on Athens County ballots to be elected.
Serve the people of Athens County, and that's what I'll do in the next 4 years.
He was reelected to his seat for the fourth time. But other Democrats weren't as lucky. Democrat Wenda Sheard ran for Ohio House District 94. The Republican opponent Kevin Ritter received 2 times as many votes. Despite the loss, she's feeling good about the campaign and race.
I think we had a good race. We raised issues. I want to congratulate my opponent.
Micah McCary lost his bid for the 95th district seat. He says no matter the outcome of the race, the party needs to help its community needs.
Regardless of any of these races, our commitment to help our communities be the best that they can be is something we all have to come together to try and achieve.
Candidate for Ohio Senate District 30, Ari Faber, was also at the watch party, but declined an interview. Ari Faber lost the Ohio Senate District 30 race to Republican candidate Brian Chavez. Faber was required to use his dead name, Iva Faber, on the ballot. He lost by over half of the votes. WOUB is your election source in Southeast Ohio. Get the latest on key races right here on WOUB and online at woub.org. And for more information on race results, tune into WOUB's news podcast, The Outlet. Be sure to stay tuned to our socials and the WOUB PBS YouTube channel. There you can rewatch last night's special election coverage, where we discussed key issues here in Southeast Ohio.
Next in sports, we are live at Dick's Stadium at Kent, Ohio. Hear from head coach Tim Albin and more when we come back.
We had a pretty rainy day today down here in Southeast Ohio, but will the skies clear up? Be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast to find out what kind of weather you can expect this week.
It's known as America's finest city, San Diego. And people aren't the only ones who enjoy it here. Across the county, animals follow ancient routes and forge new paths. Because San Diego isn't just America's finest city, it's also America's wildest.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
through the meadows. Breathe in and let go. That sweet surrender. I've been running all through the night. You can knock me down, but I've got my will to survive. Rise up, rise up, rise up.
Together, we can make real change happen.
Quantum physics completely changed the way we used to live into the way we live now.
The tiniest mysteries
We need to know how things interact on a fundamental level to do big things.
are sometimes the weirdest.
Entanglement is the stubborn, disturbing, interesting, and the most confusing part of what it means to describe how nature works.
Decoding the universe, Quantum, on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Good evening from a gloomy day down here in Southeast Ohio. We had quite the showers earlier today, but those have kind of let up for now. And right now we're just seeing these mostly cloudy skies, and our temperatures have gone down pretty significantly from what we felt yesterday. Right now we're at about 68 degrees, but our humidity has gone up a little bit since we had a lot of that rainfall here today. Now the main reason we saw a lot of this rainfall was due to this cold front that just swept right through the area. And usually right before this, we had a warm air kind of coming up from the Gulf, sweeping in a lot of moisture with it. So that way when this cold front comes through, it picks it up and creates this sort of cloud coverage and a lot of this precipitation that we saw over the area. And this low pressure helps sort of lift those parcels of air up, creating that cloud coverage that we saw, creating this sort of linear rain system right across this frontal system. Now right behind it, we do have a high pressure system developing, so that's going to sort of clear up the skies a little bit for us these next couple of days. But taking a look further out west towards the Rockies, we have a mess going on. We're seeing a little bit of snow, some low pressure systems, a little bit of rain as well. And fortunately for us, we won't be seeing any snow from this. But the system, as soon as it passes over the Rockies, it's going to start to restructure itself a little bit. And we'll actually be seeing some rain from that this weekend. But I'll talk about that here in just a second. In the meantime, with this high pressure, we'll be seeing our temperatures dip ever so slightly. We'll be in the mid 60s as well. So we won't be back up by those high 80s, but things will definitely cool down a little bit, still a little unseasonable for these November days. Now tonight we'll still be on the warmer side of things since we're having that cloud coverage over and that cold front hasn't fully swept through yet. We'll see this overnight low of 53 degrees and that 50% chance of showers, that those are just going to be spotty throughout the area and mainly near the Ohio River. So if you live to the north of us, this radar is going to show that you're not really going to see a lot of this rain for the most part. A lot of it's going to stay more towards the south of southeast Ohio and again right along that Ohio River. And we see this mostly pick up around 4 a.m. because as the system develops, it actually turns more horizontal, and that's why we're going to see it sweep through the area. Now tomorrow we'll see another high of 68 degrees. So the cold front's starting to set in, but overnight tomorrow is really when we see it really start to develop, and especially since we have this high pressure helping to pull that air down towards us, that's going to be nice and cool. Now taking a quick look at the rest of the weather for this week. Sunday is when we're really going to see that low pressure system that I was talking about over the Rocky Mountains start to develop, and that's going to have a cold front along with it. So it's going to keep these mid 60 degree temperatures with us for the next couple of days.
Ohio football is back in action tonight for their first midweek game of the season against Kent State.
Newswatch sports reporter Grant Kiefer is live from Kent, Ohio. And Grant, it's weird to see football being played on a Wednesday.
Yeah, weird to have a midweek game and on a weeknight, but this is a good way for the Mid-American Conference to get its games in the spotlight and national television late in November when we're coming down the stretch. For Ohio, they're one win away from bowl eligibility. It would be their third straight bowl game and third in 4 years under head coach Tim Albin tonight. It's a chance for the country to see the Bobcats, all eyes on MACtion.
I mean, it's all over the world. It's the only game on Tuesday and Wednesday. Every restaurant, sports bar in the country's got the game on, and that's got to be a good thing. The games are competitive, and it's great for we're great for our conference, and I just think it helps the student athlete with NIL and their brand. Absolutely.
Realignment has changed the MAC as we know it. East and West divisions, yeah, those are gone. The top two teams now make the MAC championship game. A win tonight puts Ohio tied second and on track to be in Detroit. Ohio soccer also playing tomorrow, and it's the end of fall sports season. They're looking to continue their season tomorrow morning. Yes, morning in the MAC semifinal for a second straight year. 5 players yesterday were named All-MAC for the Bobcats, including center back Nora Roush as MAC Defensive Player of the Year. Ohio's going to face Buffalo tomorrow at 11. Now, 2 weeks ago, Ohio fell to the Buffalo Bulls, but still a chance to flip the script. If you may remember, Ohio's in the same spot they were in last year. Tonight, Ohio football is at Kent State, but last night, Ohio volleyball was here. They got to win to set the tone in straight sets against the Golden Flashes. 6 wins in a row for Ohio over Kent. They have dominated. Quite a night for Cam Hunt. 7 kills, 3 service aces, 6 digs. She's the MAC leader in kills as well. The win comes at a crucial time of the year. There's just 4 games left for Ohio this season. 2 this weekend, 2 next weekend. Tied for the 6th spot. Top 6 teams make the MAC tournament. Ohio has made the MAC tournament 2 years in a row. Looking for a 3rd under head coach Jeff Carlson would be a major accomplishment for a young team. Guys, on the clock right now saying 10 minutes to kick off. It's gonna be a good one. 6th win of the season for the Bobcats would put them eligible for a bowl game. Could see the Bobcats in December.
Next, doctors say millions of people have diabetes but don't know it. What signs you need to look for?
Sherlock Holmes is the world's most famous detective. But why didn't his creator, Arthur Conan Doyle, love him as much as the rest of us do? In this series, I'm tracking down clues and evaluating the evidence to discover where creator and creation diverged. I'm hoping to open a little window into Arthur's mind.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
I've decided to hire them as advisors.
Judith Potts, reporting for duty.
You 3 are staying right there.
What if the killer's someone else entirely? Someone we haven't even considered yet.
Liz Curtis was at Stefan's funeral. That woman is a killer.
Are you at the rowing centre?
Sorry, the reception's very bad. You're breaking up.
The Marlowe Murder Club on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
Regardless of your stage of life, whether you're starting your first job, getting the keys to a new home, or enjoying retirement, it's never too early or too late to create an estate plan to care for loved ones and support the causes that are meaningful to you. WOUB Public Media is pleased to have partnered with Giving Dogs, a free resource for building an estate plan that fits your needs and protects the people and causes you care about. Visit WOUB.org and click the support tab to get started today.
Today's the day.
You're home.
It's a celebration.
Here we go. No one can say I don't have accomplished daughters.
We need more fun in our family.
It's just like a real blessing.
Look at this spread.
That's good.
Your heart gets so full that you think it's gonna burst.
It's National Diabetes Month, and experts say millions of people who have diabetes don't know they have it. The CDC estimates more than 38 million Americans of all ages have diabetes, but experts say there are red flags to look out for early detection. Experts say when you're not feeling like yourself, it's important to see a doctor to be screened and evaluate for diabetes risk. People can also reduce their risk of type 2 diabetes.
The holidays are right around the corner, and experts predict spending will be at an all-time high. Now is the time to start thinking about budgeting. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at shopping trends and how to avoid the holidays from hurting your finances.
It's the season of giving, but if you're not careful with finances, you could be getting a hefty bill at the end of the holiday season. Experts say shopping as early as now can help you budget.
We have seen a trend
over the last couple of years of consumers starting their shopping a little earlier for the winter holidays.
Catherine Cullen with the National Retail Federation says holiday spending this year is expected to hit an all-time high, with shoppers spending an average of $902 per person, about $641 going towards gifts, and the rest towards food, cards, and decor. There is some good news for shoppers this year.
We do know that in many ways inflation has gotten better than it was last year, particularly when it comes to goods, which is great news for consumers.
A recent survey by NerdWallet found 28% of shoppers who used credit cards to buy gifts last year are still paying off that debt. So, how can you make sure you don't overspend?
The best thing to do is to really make a plan before you start spending. Ideally, we want to use our savings and not debt to fund those purchases.
NerdWallet personal finance expert Kimberly Palmer also recommends these tips. Make a list and figure out exactly how much you want to spend. Start shopping early. Talk to family and friends about expectations and possibly scaling back. And sign up for price drop alerts.
Using some kind of browser add-on like Honey or the Camelizer browser extension just to track those prices can just help make sure that you're getting the best deal possible.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Still ahead, a new baby hippo is taking the internet by storm. Meet the newest hippo at the Scotland Zoo next.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
My people in the buffalo have a shared history together. The buffalo was sacred, and they could not imagine existence without the buffalo. They were put on this earth to help us survive.
To think that our greed and our industrialization would blink this thing out.
This is the buffalo's last chance.
They've survived, we've survived. We both persisted.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Our unit, 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, in a 5-month period, we had 17 Marines that were killed. I was trying to figure out, well, what could I do? I should do a carving of a battlefield cross. I need to do them for the rest of the families now.
Being a Gold Star father, it's a club that no one wants to belong to. It means I got a big hole in my chest.
This will keep people remembering these guys long after we're all gone.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
We are learning more about a rare birth at Scotland's Edinburgh Zoo. Say hello to Haggis, a pygmy hippo calf born at the zoo last week. Pygmy hippos are native to West Africa and Liberia, but they are endangered. Only about 2,500 exist in the world today. Zoo officials say the first 30 days are critical for the hippo's development, and the zoo will closely monitor Haggis over the coming weeks. What a cute story.
Oh, for sure. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching.
Stay tuned for PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and